Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Louise.
I beat you
Well,
to
you beat me to it.
it.
Good. I'm glad. I was waiting. Here we are with You Should Be Grateful by Angela Tucker. We are reading chapter 2, The Adoptee Lounge.
This was great. Her work is great. Very impressed with what she's done here to help
Hmm.
people.
Important work. Yeah, right out the gate, she was looking at, these new unhoused mothers
Hmm.
who were being coerced
Yeah.
to place their child for adoption.
Yeah,
Just
she
so
was visiting
blatant, right?
agencies. Yeah. And really realizing how, well, people also, one thing she got into here, first of all, it was based on economics and race. She's
Of
realizing,
course.
oh, this was economics and race. And, certain zip codes with the white community stays, their little problems stay here. In the other communities, it goes and gets reported, and people start losing their kids. And then
Right.
there's a
Yeah.
rehoming site.
Okay.
Like,
I don't think, I mean, let's be clear about what that means,
right.
right?
Yep.
So let's say a wealthy white family
Hmm.
has a alcoholic father or what
Hmm.
have you. They're kind of left alone. If that happens in
Ooh.
the Black community, Child's Protective Services is
Yep.
called. So it is clearly
Yep.
uh, racially
It really is.
unfair,
It's
you know?
racially unfair. And then a lot of these families they adopt a child, you know, with some different things coming along with it. And then they rehome them when it doesn't work out, which we
Right.
still know goes on.
Well, you know, I don't know if I'm sure I've talked about it on this podcast and I will not mention her name, but a noted
Yep.
person adopted two sisters from Ethiopia and
Yeah.
then it didn't work out for whatever reason and she returned them
Yeah.
and
God.
there was no guarantee that those sisters would stay together. It was a really terrible, terrible
I
um,
mean, really, right?
and then what this was, they had these child matching events, sometimes dubbed Kids Fest, to find a home for children. And
Yeah.
it showed, it said that the kids would play in the playground while being watched by these prospective parents, some of whom would gingerly go up to a child and interact, assessing whether they'd be a good match for the family. There's
I
just so
There's so many things wrong. Like I feel
much.
I'm cringing while you're telling.
I know.
So she begins something called the Adoptee Lounge for adopted children that were kind of picked in a picked because of their standing out with their issues. So they're all in this like, not fitting in situation. She said here we go. On a stereotypical gray and rainy day in Seattle, I sit with 7 adoptees in their private middle school that serves girls and gender non-conforming students. Non-conforming, which is interesting. 3 are adopted internationally from Haiti, Ethiopia, and China. 2 are black and were adopted from foster care, and the other 2 are white and were adopted privately as newborn babies. That's how and so she works with these kids in a private situation to help them with their feelings.
Hmm. And here it comes up again that
Mm-hmm.
the the American Academy of Pediatrics conducted a study in 2013 that found that 1 in 4 adoptees who seek therapy attempt suicide. So that's even
Yeah,
a kind of a different statistic,
it
right? That's
is.
an actual attempt.
Yeah.
Not saying it's not the 4 times more likely. It is
The attempting alone.
the attempting 1 in 4. So a quarter of adoptees who seek therapy attempt suicide. I
Yeah.
just need to
Wow.
marinate on that. It's really astounding.
It is really
And
astounding.
here we are for, out here using our voices and trying to get
Mm.
this message out. And Angela writes a book and The Girls Who Went Away and Relinquished and American Baby. And still you run across people that have no idea
Yeah.
about the adoptee voice and the
I'm
trauma.
thinking, I'm thinking if we didn't do this, I would have no idea.
I know.
And that's why I want to educate people because I'd probably go around not helping the situation, right? In the situation I was in. So, um, she has these kids, and so she's starting to talk to them, like, come out with your feelings, whatever. Of course, they're middle schoolers. They're like mortified looking around how it is. And one girl's on her laptop, and so she writes, not flesh of my flesh, nor bone of my bone, but
Mm.
still miraculously my own. Never forget, not for a single minute, you grew under my heart, but in it. Which she
Ugh.
shows that to her and says, I have this on my wall at home. This is the girl who's willing to start the conversation. And it makes me uncomfortable. I want to take it down now.
Because her
But
parents put it up there.
her parents put it up
Uh-huh.
there, for maybe good intention of whatever they're thinking. But here we go. So then she's like, starts the conversation with the kids. What would happen if you took that down? And then they all start agreeing, and all of them feel,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not allowed to be who I am. So I have to just go, okay, I'm grateful. They're already getting the message. Grateful, shame, the whole thing,
Mm-hmm. Shame.
guilt.
You should feel, you have a shame if you're not
Mm-hmm.
grateful.
Right.
And what, you still think grateful for what? You're not, this notion that this was for the child, the messaging, because it's sure there are people that do legitimately want to help children. And,
Yeah.
we had somebody write to us, like I said, that was helping in foster care, but
Well,
it's
listen,
really
Angela,
more about like
it is.
filling their need for a family.
It is. And Angela's own mother, she writes, her mother she was raised with, her adopted mother, really helped her navigate, like, who she became with. She was
Mm-hmm.
very clued in about how to navigate situations with strangers who would talk about all their adopted kids from different races and the answers. So here Angela's speaking out, just to say, oh, this, that doesn't have to do with this in the book, but here she is speaking out. Doesn't mean she doesn't love her mother that raised her and got a lot of great things from her, but she's allowed to speak out about not. It's
I
both.
know two things can be true at once.
That drives me nuts in this whole thing.
I know. Just because you and I are speaking out and talking about the injustices and our own feelings about
Yeah.
it and coming out of the fog it doesn't change
No.
anything. It is what it is. Things happened.
Yeah.
Now we're educated. We can educate our parents,
Everybody. Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's this too.
Yeah.
This I had a little sticky here. The prevailing idea of adoption is tidy and neat. It's a simple recipe. A family with extra love and resources meets a child in need of both. What's not to love about this? Ostensibly, this greater opportunity is a good thing for adoptees. But being the adoptee at the center of the adoption can be tricky and may come with a hard truth that is sometimes hidden and silently acknowledged.
Yeah. And she got into how also the Hollywood thing we've talked about, the
Mm-hmm.
message is coming home from the blind side or whatever it is, as we now know
Oh, the
isn't even
blind
true.
side. Yeah.
But she used that one. I mean, the blind side was in there, not her, but someone she was quoting. And, it's still the messaging. I really, can we talk about the last quote she has, the very last sentence?
Is
Or
this
do you
the
want to,
Georgia Tan or because she gets
or,
into Georgia Tan?
oh
I mean,
yeah, talk
literally
about
every
that.
book we read about adoption has to bring up Georgia Tan.
Well, it has to, because this is
Mm-hmm.
how the baby brokering started, right? And I don't, until that gets known, people don't
Or,
know the history.
mm-hmm. Okay,
Um,
yeah, go ahead. This is
and
the
so at the very end, she says, this is what we were just talking about. In the adoptee lounge, we can utter seeming contradictions, like one I've wrestled with my entire life. I like that she still wrestles with it because I
mm-hmm.
do. We all do. I
Mm-hmm.
love my adopted parents and I wish I wasn't adopted.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but that's like
I
once
mean,
again these things. Yeah.
because people who are relinquished have CPTSD,
Yeah.
complex
Yeah.
post-traumatic stress disorder,
Yeah.
pre-verbal trauma, and it isn't acknowledged,
Yeah.
and it gets eye rolls, and
It does.
um, people don't want to hear it.
They do not want to hear it. And I just like that sentence, like, And I wish I wasn't adopted because you're not wishing not to know your family and who you became and all these things. You're wishing that I didn't have to grow up with anxieties and stomach aches and feeling left out and maybe suicidal, whatever someone's
And
going through.
also
Your
that
history.
that there was resources
Yeah.
for the pregnant mother who
Yeah.
more likely than not wanted to keep her baby,
That's right.
and there
It's
weren't the
true.
resources. So, okay, well, next week we're on to chapter 3. How much did I cost? Yeah.
Told you my brother
Mhm.
asked me that. Did you, how, was there money? How much was it? Like, I actually had that question. Well,
Okay, well, I'll see you in a minute for Michelle.
oh yeah, this is good. See you in a minute.
Yep, see you in a minute.